The unexpected assignment Marcus Vale stared at the notification on his terminal screen with growing disbelief. After 18 months of grueling shifts aboard the deep space mining station Prometheus 7, he had finally qualified for stress relief compensation. The corporate health division had approved his request, but their solution was not what he expected. The transport pod docked with a mechanical hiss that echoed through his cramped quarters. Marcus wiped his grimy hands on his work coveralls and opened the airlock. Instead of the standard synthetic companion he anticipated, a living being stepped into his module. She was unlike anything he had ever seen before. Her skin held a soft lavender hue that seemed to shimmer under the artificial lighting. Silver hair cascaded down her shoulders like liquid mercury, and her eyes were the color of deep space itself, dark blue with flecks of starlight. She moved with fluid grace, but there was something guarded in her posture, something that spoke of hidden strength. "I am Zainara," she said, her voice carrying musical tones that made his translation implant work overtime. "I have been assigned to provide comfort and companionship during your recovery period." Marcus found himself speechless. The mining corporation had always provided mechanical companions or holographic entertainment for stressed workers. This was the first time he had heard of them using actual alien beings for such purposes. "You're real," he managed to say, immediately feeling foolish for stating the obvious. A ghost of a smile crossed her features. "As real as you are, Marcus Vale. Though I suspect neither of us fully understands what that means in this situation." Her response puzzled him. Most corporate companions, whether synthetic or biological, were programmed to be agreeable and simple. This being seemed to possess genuine intelligence and personality. Over the following days, Marcus discovered that Zainara was nothing like the submissive companion he had been led to expect. She asked probing questions about human nature, studied his technical manuals with intense curiosity, and displayed knowledge of engineering principles that rivaled his own expertise. During their conversations, Marcus learned fragments of her story. She spoke of a world called Nethys Prime, where her people had developed technology that merged organic and mechanical systems in ways humans could barely comprehend. But when he asked why she was here, serving as a companion to overworked miners, her expression would darken and she would change the subject. The turning point came during his third week of recovery leave. Marcus was calibrating the atmospheric processors when alarms began blaring throughout the station. Emergency lights bathed everything in crimson as the automated systems announced a critical failure in the main reactor core. "All personnel to emergency stations," the computer voice echoed through the corridors. "Reactor containment breach imminent. Evacuation protocols initiated." Marcus rushed toward the engineering section, knowing that someone needed to manually stabilize the core before the entire station was destroyed. As he ran through the corridors, he was shocked to find Zainara running beside him. "You need to get to the escape pods," he shouted over the wailing sirens. "Not without you," she replied, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. They reached the reactor chamber to find the other engineers already evacuating. The containment field was fluctuating wildly, and radiation warnings flashed across every display screen. Hidden powers revealed, Marcus stared at the failing reactor core with growing horror. The containment field was collapsing faster than anyone had anticipated, and the manual override systems were not responding to his commands. In less than 10 minutes, the chain reaction would reach critical mass and destroy everything within. A 50-kilometer radius. "The quantum stabilizers are offline," he muttered, frantically working at the control panel. "Without them, there's no way to prevent the cascade failure." Zainara moved to stand beside him, her dark eyes studying the reactor displays with an intensity that surprised him. "May I?" she asked, gesturing toward the controls. "You know reactor technology?" Marcus asked, stepping aside despite his confusion. Instead of answering, Zainara placed her hands directly on the control surface. What happened next defied everything Marcus thought he knew about physics and biology. Her lavender skin began to glow with soft blue light, and tendrils of energy seemed to flow from her fingers into the control systems. The failing displays suddenly stabilized, showing readings that should have been impossible. "What are you doing?" Marcus whispered, watching in amazement as the reactor's chaotic energy patterns began to smooth into regular waves. "Something I was not supposed to reveal," Zinara replied, her voice strained with concentration. "My people do not simply use technology, Marcus. We are technology." The revelation hit him like a physical blow. The Nethisi were not just an advanced alien species. They were biomechanical beings capable of interfacing directly with electronic systems. As he watched, Zainara's consciousness seemed to merge with the station's computer network, her thoughts flowing through circuits and processors, like water through pipes. "The cascade is stabilizing," she reported, though her voice now carried an electronic undertone. "But there is something else, something you need to see." New data began appearing on the screens around them. Not reactor diagnostics, but communication, logs, shipping manifests, and classified corporate documents that Marcus had never seen before. "My assignment here was not random," Zinara continued, her glowing form still connected to the station's systems. "The Galactic Mining Consortium has been harvesting my people, using us as biological computers and companions. They told you I was here for stress relief, but the truth is far more sinister." Marcus felt sick as he read the documents flowing across the screens. Hundreds of Nethisi had been captured and distributed throughout human space, their true nature hidden from the workers who received them. The mining corporations were using them as living tools, exploiting their biomechanical abilities while disguising them as simple companions. "This is slavery," he said, the words coming out as barely a whisper. "Worse than slavery," Zinara replied. "They are studying us, learning how our technology works. The reactor failure was not an accident, Marcus. It was a test to see if I would reveal my abilities under pressure." The implications were staggering. If human corporations were reverse engineering Nethisi biotechnology, they could potentially create hybrid systems that would revolutionize space travel, weapons technology, and computational power. The balance of power in the galaxy would shift dramatically in humanity's favor. "We have to expose this," Marcus said, his mind racing with possibilities. "If people knew what was happening, they would not care," Zinara interrupted, her connection to the station's network allowing her to access communication logs from across human space. "Look at the reports I am finding. Your species has been preparing for something much larger than simple mining operations." New files appeared on the screens, showing military buildup reports, fleet movements, and strategic planning documents. Marcus read with growing alarm as the scope of humanity's ambitions became clear. "Project Dominion," he read aloud from one of the classified files. Phase 1. Establish resource extraction operations in alien territories. Phase 2. Acquire alien biotechnology through acquisition programs. Phase 3. Deploy hybrid technologies for territorial expansion. The mining stations were not just commercial ventures. They were forward operating bases for a planned expansion across the galaxy, and beings like Zainara were not companions, but unwilling participants in humanity's preparation for galactic conquest. The Resistance Network, the revelation of Project Dominion, changed everything for Marcus. Over the following days, he and Zinara worked together to uncover the full scope of humanity's galactic expansion plans. What they discovered was both impressive and terrifying. The Galactic Mining Consortium was just one arm of a massive human enterprise that had been operating in secret for nearly a decade. Through careful manipulation of interstellar law and strategic placement of mining operations, humanity had established footholds in dozens of star systems. Each operation served dual purposes: resource extraction and intelligence gathering about alien civilizations. Your species is more cunning than most realize, Zainara observed as they reviewed intercepted communications from corporate headquarters. While other races focused on peaceful expansion and trade agreements, humans have been positioning themselves for dominance. Marcus felt a complex mix of pride and shame. The strategic thinking behind Project Dominion was undeniably brilliant, but the methods being used were morally questionable. The acquisition of beings like Zainara was just one example of humanity's willingness to exploit other species for technological advantage. There has to be opposition, he said, studying fleet deployment patterns on the holographic display. Other alien civilizations must know what's happening. Zainara's expression grew thoughtful. There is something, but it is not what you might expect. My people have been in contact with others like me, those who have been distributed throughout human space. We have been sharing information through quantum entanglement communication networks that your technology cannot detect. She gestured to the console, and new data streams appeared showing a hidden network of communication between captured Nethysi across dozens of human installations. The scope of their underground intelligence operation was remarkable. We have been documenting everything, she continued. Military capabilities, technological developments, strategic weaknesses. We know about the new fusion drives that will allow your fleets to travel between stars in weeks instead of months. We know about the adaptive armor systems derived from Colonian chitin. We know about the psionic dampening fields based on Threnody neural patterns. Marcus whistled softly. You've been conducting espionage operations right under our noses. Intelligence gathering, Zainara corrected. But now we face a decision. The information we have collected could be used to help other civilizations prepare defenses against human expansion. Or it could be used to help humans refine their strategies and become even more effective conquerors. The choice she was offering him was clear but difficult. He could help her transmit the gathered intelligence to alien governments, potentially saving countless lives but betraying his own species. Or he could report her activities to corporate security, ensuring humanity's continued advantage but condemning her and others like her to continued slavery. There's a third option, Marcus said after long consideration. What if we could change humanity's approach from the inside? Zainara's eyebrows rose with interest. Explain. Marcus pulled up personnel files from across the mining consortium's operations. Look at these psychological profiles. Most of the workers in these facilities are like me, people who were told they were participating in legitimate mining operations. They don't know about Project Dominion or the true nature of their alien companions. He highlighted specific entries showing stress levels, job satisfaction ratings, and loyalty assessments. But they're also some of the most capable engineers, technicians, and logistical specialists in human space. If they knew the truth about what they were really supporting, many of them would refuse to continue. You want to create a resistance movement within your own expansion effort? Zainara realized. More than that, Marcus said, his excitement growing as the plan took shape in his mind. I want to create a revolution in how humanity approaches galactic expansion. Instead of conquest and exploitation, what if we could build something based on genuine cooperation and mutual benefit? Zainara was quiet for several minutes, her biomechanical nature allowing her to process possibilities at superhuman speed. It would be extraordinarily dangerous, she finally said. Corporate security, military intelligence, and government oversight agencies would all work to stop such a movement. But it might work, Marcus insisted. Humans aren't naturally evil. Zainara, we're opportunistic and competitive, but we're also capable of remarkable cooperation when we believe in a cause. The problem is that most people don't know what cause they're really serving. Together, they began developing a plan to systematically contact key personnel across the human expansion network. Using Zainara's connections to other captured aliens, they could coordinate simultaneous revelations that would make it impossible for corporate and government authorities to suppress the truth. The Galactic Uprising. The revolution began with a whisper that spread across human space faster than any official communication network could track. On mining stations, research facilities, and frontier colonies throughout dozens of star systems, workers began to learn the truth about their missions and their alien companions. Marcus had spent weeks developing secure communication protocols that could piggyback on standard corporate data streams. Using Zainara's biomechanical abilities to interface directly with quantum communication networks, they were able to send encrypted messages to carefully selected personnel across the human expansion zone. The first responses were exactly what Marcus had expected: disbelief, anger, and demands for proof. But as more evidence emerged and more alien companions revealed their true natures, the scattered whispers began to coalesce into organized resistance. Station Commander Torres at Kepler Station has secured his facility and declared independence from the mining consortium, Zainara reported, her consciousness linked to the growing network of rebellious installations. Engineering Chief Nakamura at the Proxima Research Complex has released all captured alien specimens and offered them passage to neutral territory. Marcus monitored the spreading uprising with a mixture of pride and terror. Each successful station that joined their cause represented dozens of human lives that could be saved from unknowing participation in galactic conquest. But it also meant they were directly challenging some of the most powerful interests in human space. Corporate security forces are mobilizing, he warned, studying intercepted military communications. They're calling it the Frontier Rebellion and classifying all participating stations as terrorist installations. The response was swift and brutal. Within days, corporate battle fleets were moving toward rebellious installations, carrying orders to retake the facilities by any means necessary. The first confrontation came at the Titan orbital platform, where Commander Sarah Kim had refused orders to surrender her facility's alien detainees. They're demanding complete submission, Kim's transmission crackled through the quantum network. Surrender of all alien personnel, arrest of all conspiracy participants, and resumption of normal operations under martial law. Marcus watched the tactical displays with growing dread. The corporate forces vastly outgunned the mining and research installations. The rebellion he had helped start was about to be crushed before it could accomplish anything meaningful. That Tepi was when Zainara made a revelation that changed everything. The captured aliens across your expansion zone are not just from my species, she said, her biomechanical nature allowing her to coordinate with beings Marcus hadn't even known existed. There are Vorthak engineers who understand faster than light, mechanics in ways your physicists cannot comprehend. There are Selenian navigators who can plot courses through hyperspace without computer assistance. There are Corvin weapons specialists whose understanding of energy manipulation exceeds your most advanced military technologies. The implications hit Marcus like a lightning bolt. They've been building a shadow fleet. Not building, Zainara corrected. Improving. Every human ship, weapon system, and defensive installation that has been serviced by captured aliens has been subtly modified, enhanced, prepared. As corporate battle fleets approached the rebellious stations, the true scope of the alien prisoners' preparations became clear. Mining vessels that should have been helpless against military craft suddenly displayed impossible maneuverability and devastating weapons capabilities. Research stations activated defensive systems that had never appeared on their original blueprints. Transport ships revealed hidden compartments filled with equipment that defied current human understanding of physics. The Battle of the Frontier, as historians would later call it, lasted only 6 hours. But in those 6 hours, humanity learned a lesson that would reshape their approach to galactic expansion forever. Corporate Fleet Command, this is Admiral Richardson aboard the CNS Dominator, came the transmission that marked the turning point. We are requesting immediate ceasefire and withdrawal of all attack orders. Repeat, we are standing down. The corporate admiral's next words were heard across human space. Our target installations are not defenseless mining stations. They are fully armed military complexes with capabilities that exceed our own. Continuing this attack would result in the complete destruction of our forces. Birth of the Terran Empire. The aftermath of the Frontier Rebellion transformed human civilization in ways no one could have predicted. Within months, the scattered mining stations and research facilities had coalesced into something unprecedented. The first truly cooperative human-alien alliance in galactic history. Marcus found himself serving as one of the primary liaisons between human and alien populations, a role that required him to travel between installations and help establish new protocols for interspecies cooperation. The transformation was remarkable to witness. The efficiency improvements are beyond our most optimistic projections, reported Dr. Elizabeth Chen, the chief scientist at the newly renamed Alliance Research Complex. When human ingenuity combines with alien biotechnology and theoretical knowledge, we achieve breakthroughs that neither species could accomplish alone. The numbers were staggering. Faster-than-light travel times had been reduced by 70% through the integration of Vorthak engineering principles. Energy efficiency in all systems had improved by similar margins thanks to Selenian optimization techniques. Most remarkably, the new hybrid technologies were being shared freely between all Alliance installations, creating a feedback loop of continuous improvement. But the most significant change was philosophical rather than technological. The Alliance had established a new model for human expansion that prioritized mutual benefit over dominance. "We're not conquering space anymore," Marcus explained to a gathering of newly liberated alien specialists. "We're joining it. Every world we establish a presence on, every species we encounter, becomes part of something larger than what any of us could build alone." Zenara had become instrumental in developing the Alliance's expansion protocols. Her biomechanical nature allowed her to interface with virtually any technology they encountered, making her an invaluable scout and diplomat when contacting new civilizations. The old corporate model assumed that resources were finite and had to be fought over, she observed during one of their planning sessions. But when different species share their knowledge and capabilities, we create resources that never existed before. The proof of concept came when the Alliance encountered the Meridian Collective, a spacefaring civilization that had been actively preparing defenses against expected human aggression. Instead of the conquest fleet they anticipated, they found diplomatic envoys offering technological exchange and mutual protection agreements. "Your species has changed," observed Collective Ambassador Thiel during the first formal negotiations. "Our intelligence networks reported that humans were preparing for galactic domination through military conquest. Instead, we find a coalition offering partnership." The Alliance's response was to demonstrate their hybrid capabilities. Human ships enhanced with alien technology performed feats that impressed even the advanced Meridian Collective. But more importantly, they did so while providing humanitarian aid to collective colonies that had been damaged by solar flare activity. "This is how we expand now," Marcus explained to Ambassador Thiel. "We don't take territory. We build relationships. We don't exploit resources. We create capabilities that benefit everyone involved." Within 2 years, the Alliance had grown to encompass 47 star systems and 11 different species. The old Galactic Mining Consortium still existed, but it had been forced to adapt to Alliance competition or face economic irrelevance. Most chose adaptation, transforming their operations from extraction-based models to development partnerships with local populations. The Terran Empire, as it came to be known, was unlike any galactic power that had ever existed. Instead of ruling through military dominance, it grew through technological and economic cooperation. Instead of imposing human culture on conquered populations, it created hybrid societies that incorporated the best elements of each member species. "We've built something that transcends species boundaries," Zenara observed during the Empire's first formal Constitution Convention. A civilization based on cooperation rather than competition, on shared growth rather than zero-sum resource allocation. Marcus looked out at the assembled delegates. Humans, Nathisi, Vorthak, Selenians, Corvins, and representatives from half a dozen other species, and felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The stress relief companion who had been assigned to his mining station had indeed held a secret that no one expected. She had carried within her the seeds of humanity's greatest transformation, the evolution from conquerors to builders, from exploiters to partners, from a single species struggling for dominance to the founding members of the galaxy's first truly cooperative civilization. The Terran Empire had been born not through conquest, but through the simple recognition that the universe was vast enough for everyone to thrive, if they were willing to work together to make it happen.